You build swimming pools with integrated virtual underwater worlds. Exactly how should we envision them?
Well, as you rightly said, we are talking about virtual worlds. Taking into consideration that a normal swimming pool is about 1.5 meters deep, we create the illusion that the pool is up to 10 meters and more. Through the combination of painted film scenery showing mobile animals underwater, the illusion of swimming in a lagoon is given.
Are there any limitations to consider? What is possible?
The possibilities are abundant. It is of course important that the swimming pool area has a minimum size and the swimming pool an adequate depth. The swimming pool must also be conducive to the plexiglass construction required in creating such sceneries.
As to the themes involved, do you take into consideration the customer's idea, or are there limitations?
The customer may, of course, designate the theme, for example, Great Barrier Reef, Red Sea, or even Fantasy World. I can even imagine a future project, Atlantis, including a mermaid swimming forward where she interacts with the person swimming and then disappears, or Nemo, Nautilus, etc. Such ideas are still in my imagination, just waiting to be carried out.
How realistic are the fish, plants and dolphins?
It's possible today, through expert technical know-how, to create deceptively realistic virtual mobility. A non-expert can often not tell if the animals are genuine or have been filmed, or if they are solely animations.
What technical means are behind this process?
Actually, that's a very comprehensive field. A number of experts are necessary to take care of the technical side. As an artist, I provided the basic concept. However, I needed someone to build a suitable pool, something which requires a specialist. Then I need someone to produce the film involved and the mobility shown therein, including the film's interaction. I also needed partners who provided me with the necessary foil, which reflects my paintings. Bringing together a competent staff of experts was a complicated undertaking.
You say your painting creates the illusion of more space. How is this achieved? How does the illusion function?
Well, this involves specific artistic skill, and each artist has his own style. Trompe-l'œil means deceive the eye and requires giving the painting depth by means of using the correct perspective lines, as well as a proper use of colors. Personally, I prefer using pastel colors for a more subtle effect. A quality trompe-l'œil painting must be realistic, the foreground having the same size as the original, and it should gradually evolve into the painting's background.
How was the idea for Aquatic Dream Worlds born?
It developed over several years. The idea originated in Silver Springs, Florida, where boat rides on a lake in a glass-bottom boat reveal an underwater view over 50 to 60 meters deep. During such a trip, I was inspired to virtually recreate this experience in a swimming pool. Lacking the necessary partners, I rejected the idea initially, only to revive it later. Now having the right partners who are capable of producing the necessary technical requirements, Aquatic Dream World has been realized.
In connection with virtual underwater worlds, one thinks of swimming pools or wellness areas. How big must the swimming pool actually be?
Our trade fair exhibition model pool is 2 meters by 3 meters, and there is no limit as to pool size. However, I can imagine that Aquatic Dream Worlds would be especially interesting for large water landscapes, wellness areas, center parks, etc., as well as for private customers who want an absolute novelty, enabling them or their children to skin dive in their own home, including interaction with a virtual depicted underwater world. That would provide a new form of entertainment.
Now to your person. You're an interior designer as well as one of Europe's most renowned illusionism artists. What came first, designing or painting? And how has your career developed?
Well, I come from an artist family and I am a pure autodidact. Additionally, I am familiar with building constructions and therefore know what is possible in carrying out a design. Through the interior designing of swimming pool areas, I started painting trompe-l'oeil murals. These murals should never be an extraneous element in the room, but should belong to the room's architecture. They must be integrated to give the area a qualitative note and avoid its looking kitschy.
Where can we see your work? Which swimming pools and spas have you designed until now?
Well, I've worked for a diversity of customers, including some German show business public personalities, but the majority of my clients are private customers. I've also worked for some hotels and I work internationally, having done designing on 8 luxury liners, among others for the Cunard line who built Queen Mary, as well as for the Royal Caribbean line. The ships were built in Turku, Finland, and Papenburg here in Germany, as well as in Singapore and Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Now a question about swimming pool construction. Are there initial considerations I have to take into account, or financial snares to consider? And how do I proceed if I want to build a swimming pool?
First, I would recommend collecting as much pertinent information as possible. In order to avoid the financial snares you mentioned, the architect must know how to prepare the swimming pool area. For example, the room height is important. Also the question as to whether girders are to be built above the ceiling, or if there are rooms provided for the technology involved, and if so, where they are to be placed. All these things can prove costly if later changes must be made, and worse yet, at times it's even too late to change something. Thus, it's best to make inquiries as early as possible in order to determine the course of events when planning. According to the physics of construction, the pool area must have, among other things, proper insulation, an air conditioner, and a water filtering system. This composition of services at the outset of such a project calls for guidance, which I provide as designer, informing the customer of possible pitfalls, especially regarding initial cost.
That means you accompany the customer from beginning to end?
Yes, when the customer wishes. I often get contacted solely for the designing elements, but I would like to emphasize that on the basis of 20 years experience and the fact that I am not selling a specific product, I'm able to offer objective and neutral advice, recommending methods and products that function. For example, should the pool be made out of foil, plastic, tile or GFK? Where are the advantages, the disadvantages? Architects do well to work together with designers who are experienced in this very specific field.